Hello again, everybody. Welcome back. It's Friday, the 27th. It's about 10:30 in the morning. I'm back in my building working in Towanda. I'm working on the plumbing lines and putting in the conduit so I can pull those plumbing lines later on after we pour the concrete. So I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to give you a look at what we've accomplished so far. So here is the conduit. This is Schedule 40 PVC. See it right there. 1.25 inch, Schedule 40, rigid PVC. PVC stands for polyvinyl chloride. I used 1.25 inch and 1.5 inch line, and there's no particular reason why I did that. I had that material laying around. I didn't need to buy it. If I would have bought it, I would have probably went with 1.5 inch for both conduit runs. What I've done is I prepared my trench. I just leveled out the base. This is going to be backfilled with much gravel after we're done. So I've leveled out the base. And I've cut my pipe, my conduit, and I've dry fitted it in here. So there it is, there's the run. There's about 35, 36 feet of run all the way over to that far corner where it's going to come up inside the sink. So that pipe is prepared and ready to go, and I need to glue that up. And it's going to be hard to glue that up and show you that because I need both my hands, so I prepared a little mock-up over here. Show you how that happens. So let me turn this around. Well, first let's take a look at the glue. So people think they're gluing it, but they're not really gluing it. What you're really doing is making a chemical weld. And the first thing you have to do that is you have to clean it. You have to prime it. So this is the primer we're going to use right here. It's made by Harvey. There's other brands out there. Audi is another brand. There's either comes in clear or purple. The reason I like to use the purple, the inspectors like to see the purple. There's no question that you actually cleaned and prepared the pipe when it's ready to go. If you don't prime it properly, you'll never get the chemical weld. You don't really glue it. What happens is the primer starts to soften the plastic, and when the two pieces come together, they're actually welding themselves back together. So after you prime it, and while the primer is still wet, you need to apply the glue. So there's the glue. This is especially made for PVC cement. And you can buy different kinds. There's different kinds. There's different types of products. There's ABS, there's PVC, there's CPVC. They're all different chemical formulas that make that compound up. And there's a glue that's specific to each one of them. There also is a multi-purpose glue that you can buy. This glue is made to do PVC, CPVC, and ABS pipe. And you can use this pipe, and you can use this glue on this pipe, and we can use it here. Although I prefer to use the glue that's specifically made for the pipe that I'm using. So I have a couple pieces of pipe here. This is a 1.25 inch 45 fitting. I have a coupler and just a little piece of pipe that was cut off, and I want to show you how we glue these together. So I'm going to turn this around here and set this up for you in a little stand I made up. All right, so there we go. So the first thing you got to do is you got to cut your pipe. And when you cut your pipe, there's lots of ways you can cut it. You can use a circular saw, you can use a sawzall with a fine bimetal blade, you can use a hacksaw, you can use a handsaw, you can use a miter saw, you can even use a pipe cutter if you want. Quick and easy way to cut it is to, if you have your miter saw set up, to set that up. Today I used a sawzall with a fine tooth blade on it. But when you make the cut, what happens is you get a lot of fray. See all this fray right in here? And we don't want to leave that on the pipe. We want to get rid of that. So what we need to do is we need to remount this pipe. This would be bad if we tried to glue this. All this stuff would get into our pipe system. And if it was a water line, this would all be put into the water line. If it was a supply line, it would go into the supply. If it was a drain or sanitary waste, all this stuff would have a chance for debris to get caught up and hang on and start creating a jam or a plug in your pipe. So what we want to do is we want to clean that up. So it's easy to ream that out. All we really need to do is take a knife and just utility knife and just score around there, and we're going to get all those sprays off of there. We're going to do it on the inside, and we're also going to do it on the outside. When you do it on the outside, it creates a little bevel on the edge of your pipe, and when you put your glues together, some of that glue doesn't get forced out as you're putting the pipes together. So you just clean that up real quick, and it ends up looking like that, which is a lot cleaner and ready to be glued. Okay, so now we're going to glue it. So we're going to bring our primer in first, and then our glue second. So we're going to take our primer, and we're going to take our two pieces, our fitting that we're going to glue on, and our pipe, and we're going to clean out the inside of the primer. We're going to prime out the inside of the fitting, And we're going to clean out the outside of the pipe. After that's done, we're going to take our glue, put some glue on the inside, put some glue on the outside, simply twist those together, give it a little twist. It takes out all the air bubbles inside there, hold that for a few seconds, and you have your fitting complete. You've chemically welded this pipe together. There's no way it's going to come apart. The only way you're going to get this apart is to cut it apart, if it's done properly. So there it is. That is not going to come apart. It's cleaned, it's primed, it's glued together, actually welded together. When the inspector comes in and wants to look at this thing, he can see that it's clearly been primed, and if he doesn't see that purple, he might question if you actually did it or not. Also, when you're dry fitting your pipes together and you have a whole big run going on, if you don't use a purple primer, you can't remember if you actually glued something together or not. So all I have to do now is come back over here, take the dry fitting apart, start gluing it up, put it all back together with the glue and welds, backfill around it, bring some gravel in over the top of it, and we're ready. That part of the job is done. After the concrete's poured, we'll come in here and run a fish line down through there, hook our PEX pipe to it, and we'll pull a flexible PEX half-inch water line right through this conduit, and it'll pop up, start right there in the corner, and it'll run all the way over and come up right underneath our sink over there. One other thing I want to mention is, when you buy this pipe, it has two fittings on the end. The pipe comes in 10-foot sections, and on one end it'll have a bell fitting like that. That's the female side of the pipe. The other side will not have a bell fitting. It'll be a male side. This is a coupler that I've added on right here. So when I put the pipe together, what I like to do is, when I'm going to be pulling stuff through this conduit, is I like to put this facing opposite the direction I'm going to pull. So when I start pulling something through here, as I'm pulling it through here, it has less chance to get hung up on the little lip that's inside of there, and I get an easier pull going through my pipe. It doesn't really matter in this case because I have such a big pipe and such a small thing that I'm going to be pulling through it. But if you're pulling a lot of conduit or wire through conduit, it tends to get hung up on all these connection points. All right, well, that's it for today. I got a little bit more work to do, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good day. Bye.